All right, folks, welcome back to Kings and Opinion, episode 99. I got Big Ern here. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
Wander, we'll see you next week. Hope everything's well with you. And, he's got a little bit of an absence now, but we'll see him hopefully next week with some thoughts on how his Mets are doing. I wanted to start with the Yankees, super hot news with these torpedo bats.
Yep.
Now, besides them looking funny, and I don't know if you were listening or actually reading, I should say, the text between both Steves, which was absolutely moronic, to be fair. But, Shady's always going to do that, and Steve's always going to bite. So, what are you going to do? But what are some of your thoughts on this situation?
I mean, I think it's a lot of nonsense because it's like something that's allowed, something that hasn't, it's not like it just came about this year. It's been around. The Yankees aren't the only ones using it, but of course, all the haters out there are gonna, Judge not using it, right? He hit the ball, so what's up with that? But whatever. It is what it is. Let baseball make a decision. I guess they're gonna have to eventually come out and make some kind of a statement because everybody's talking about it. But it's obviously something that's allowed. It's not breaking any rules. It's something that multiple teams are using. It's something that multiple teams have been using. I don't see anybody having a heart attack that Ellie De La Cruz used it last night and hit 2 home runs. Not that helps the situation, I guess. But, Lindor used it and went 0 for 11, right?
Yep. That's the funny thing. Steve sent me an article today, and I guess it was like a one-sided article with the Mets, and they were just asking them, some of the Mets players if they have used them, if so, whatever. Would they use them? And I found some of their comments kind of funny. So Lindor came right out and said he was already using them. I don't remember if he said he was using them last year or he just started this year. But like you just said, he went 0 for 11. So did it really help him that much? Peter Alonso said he was going to order a set of the bats to try them out, which I thought was kind of funny. Even though he just had a big home run in yesterday's game, a grand slam. But
and guys have been altering bats for as long as we can remember. I mean, look at Jeff McNeil's bat for the last how many years? It's a weird looking bat. It's whatever.
And the rules are actually kind of, I don't want to say vague because it's a bat, right? So the basic rules are it's got to be made of all wood, right? The handles, the length of it's got to be, I think, is no more than 42 inches. And the barrel, I think, was 2.61. But it doesn't state anywhere where you can't move the barrel. And I get it. This guy, what is his name? Lenny Einhart or something like that. That's this physicist from...
Oh, that designed it?
That designed it, supposedly.
From MIT?
Yeah. So, if you're reading his story, because they had a story about him today on the MLB app, he's been all over the place. He was a teacher for physics, and then... he helped NASA with some weird project with freezing some kind of molecules, the lower, whatever. Anyway, obviously a smart dude, whatever. And he liked baseball. He was a baseball player. He got in on the ground floor in the minor leagues and worked his way. He was with the Yankees, up until last year. And then the Marlins have him now. So, obviously he started, I guess, testing these theories out with the players. And the players are giving him feedback and all this stuff. And then I guess this is the overall end result product of the torpedo bat. And does it look kind of funny? Yeah. Listen, there's been times where they had, no knob on the bat. They made certain parts bigger or whatever.
Listen, if it was never mentioned, I would have never noticed the difference.
Yeah, it's not. It's a slight. You see it when they're standing there getting ready to hit. You'll see it. Otherwise, you can barely tell. But my thing is, there's no math that says it does really anything else besides maybe giving you some more distance because you're hitting it now. Your sweet spot of the bat might be different than my sweet spot of the bat. So they'll adjust to that. So each player
Right.
has a different meat part of the bat. So yours might be more at the end of the bat. Mine might be more towards the middle of the bat. Someone might be after the label. Meaning more towards the hands.
I heard a clip on the radio on the way here of Boone interview, I guess, where they're finally asking Boone about it, and he equated it to, and it makes perfect sense. He's like, 10 years ago, I went and got fitted for golf clubs. It's the same thing.
Yeah, he's
Right.
not wrong. There's a lot of different things you can do, like personalized custom cleats, like you
Right.
know what I mean, like they're made for your feet specifically. You're not going to Dick's and just getting a normal size 11 when they may not fit you the right way, right? So, and listen, it could help certain players out because maybe where their fat part of the bat is now is where they mostly hit the ball. But is that really so terrible?
They just pitch to where they can't hit the ball. That's
Right. And pitchers have been doing crazy stuff too to try and get an edge or whatever, which weren't necessarily like the spider techs and all these other foreign substances to get more spin rotation and all this other stuff. I mean, that's a different kind of conversation. But to me, I don't really see the problem with these bats. And MLB has already said that in the scope of the rules, it's legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And last year, people were using it. Cody Bellinger said he was using it last year. There was a bunch of other players from other teams.
We're 3 games into the season. If the Yankees go the next 2 games and don't hit home runs, what are people going to say then? I mean, is it, are they going to say, oh, well, maybe it's not the best? Whatever. It is what it is. It's a lot of it is, it's perfect argument for the Yankee haters because nobody's complaining about anybody else that's using it.
Right. And the other problem is they were, as often as they get flack for not being ahead of the curve, this was one of the times they were, and they actually implemented something first, and now they're getting heat for it just because people are haters.
But that's just the thing. I don't even think they were first. I think there were teams using this already for a couple of years.
There might have been.
Because I could have sworn I read something somewhere. So I don't even think they are the first ones. I think they just happened to have these first couple of games where they went crazy, and that's what happened. But I mean, I even heard something that potentially from trying this out last year, I heard a story somewhere that this could be the reason why Stanton has the issues that he's having because he tried out one of these bats last year.
I heard that too. They said, and what's funny? He didn't come out and say specifically it was the torpedo bat. He just said it was bats like that that caused my elbow tendonitis, whatever you want, tennis elbow, whatever you want to call it, and that's why he's all messed up. Which, I mean, listen, I like the guy. We know he always gets hurt. But I think this is one of the times where, I don't know I can necessarily believe that unless a doctor comes out and says, were you using the torpedo bat or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, it obviously is because of the change in the design. And like you said, it's changing your sweet spot. So obviously, just from a mental standpoint, it's going to change the way you're swinging. It's going to be in your head. So yeah, I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is he gets hurt all the time.
Right.
That I'm not gonna believe it was the bat. Now, if you told me he's never gotten hurt,
and he's a crazy gym rat too, so it's not like
right. Like all we know, he could be doing these weird workouts where it hurt his elbows.
Yeah.
But that poor guy. But the good news with him is he's already swinging a bat, so hopefully he won't be out as long as they say he's gonna be out.
Yeah.
As far as the weekend, how were you? Did you have any skin in the game in this NCAA stuff before we get back to the Yankees? Any teams?
No, because of course, the 2 teams that I had won by 15 points and 10 points in their first games, and I still lost and got knocked out. Because one of them was favored by 18.5, and the other one was favored by 12.5. And they only won by 15 and 10. I was still knocked out.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I mean, I I don't know what I honestly, to be honest with you, I haven't watched anything since those teams lost and St. John's lost, so I haven't been following. But the two teams that I had both got knocked out in the
Elite Eight?
Elite Eight. So I don't know what the spreads were and if it would have carried over or not, but probably I'm sure they would have both. Well, I think Tennessee got blown out, right? I had Tennessee.
I don't know. I stopped
think they
paying
got blown
attention
out.
too.
Yeah, so
To
I
be
don't
fair, because I had Houston, who's in the Final Four, but they didn't cover, and someone took them from me, like in the round of 32, and then I had.
Oh yeah, because I saw that you covered the first round and
Yeah.
they were favored by like 30 points.
It was
and they
29 and a
still
half, and they still covered. I was like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And everyone told me I was going to lose that game, and I won that game. And then the next week they didn't cover, and I'm like, oh.
Oh my God.
And then I still had two teams in the Elite Eight, and neither one covered. One that lost outright. Whoever played Michigan, I think that was Texas A&M. They were winning, and then Michigan came back. They didn't do anything in the second half. And then right after that, I was like, I stopped paying attention. I was like, I don't even care. I was like, whatever happens with these box pools, just let me know if I win. But then thankfully, the Yankees started. They, Thursday night, great night for I guess you could say a great afternoon for baseball. They won a close one. Did you watch any of that game?
The first game?
The first game on Thursday is tough because it was like 3:00.
I know. I by the time I was able to get it on the radio, it was already like the 6th inning or something like that, I think.
I'll tell you what. Devin Williams almost gave me a heart attack.
I definitely got to listen to the end of the game, so I listened to that. That was quite crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how he. I'll give him credit this much. Like he kept his composure the whole time, but man, and supposedly like because they were playing Milwaukee, they had because that was I think it was the ESPN game.
Yeah.
They had both a Yankee and a Brewer in the booth. So the guy knew him. And he's like, oh yeah, he does this from time to time. And all I could think back is to like the Clay Holmes days, even further back. You go back to the John Wetland days where you make you sweat. And I was like, oh, this cannot be the whole season with this guy.
It was funny because I heard one, I guess on the radio it was, when they were talking about how, obviously there were some people booing at some point with him. And they said that probably in his however many years, 6 years or whatever that he was in Milwaukee, he probably never got booed once.
Yeah, it's possible.
And here in New York, his first game, and he's getting booed.
Well, he wasn't good until like he got the last pretty much 2 outs, and he got lucky because that guy Chirino or whatever his name, Churio, had already a 4 strikeout day, and he struck him out a 5th time, and that was the biggest out for me. Yeah. Because it was I think it wound up being 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, and then struck him out with 2 outs, and it was already 4-2, and then he wound up getting Yelich to swing and miss, and that ended that game. And then hanging out Saturday, watching some baseball in the afternoon, and I mean, listen, the Yankees have done this before, but they set all types of history on Saturday.
All
like
kinds of craziness.
I can't even remember all the stats. There were so many. It was crazy to me. Like they had the first back-to-back home runs to start a game on 1 pitch. That's the MLB record. Mm-hmm. They had here. I actually pulled it up.
The Yankee record for home runs in a game.
Yep. Well, that was 9, right? That they tied that record. 10 would have given them the major league record.
Right, but they broke the Yankee record.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. 15 home runs through the first 3 games, tied most in MLB history. Just the Tigers were in 2006. Wow. So they tied that one too. 36 runs through first 3 games, which is most in franchise history.
I heard that was MLB history. Or was that just franchise history?
It says franchise history.
Okay.
But, I'm sure they're up there with that too. And there was others that just keep coming out. You know what I mean? Aaron Judge had 8 runs scored in his last 2 games. That's tied for the most in any 2-game span in Yankees history.
And I think in the first 3 games, he was tied for the most in MLB history as well, if I'm not mistaken.
He might have. I was just taking little snapshots of what I was seeing throughout on Instagram. I was like, you know, the only other guy to do that as a Yankee, score 8 runs in 2 games.
I heard it was.
Give it to me.
Didi Gregorius.
No, Lou Gehrig in 1928.
No, there was something I heard that it was. I definitely heard something that Didi Gregorius did.
That might be RBIs, because I know Didi had an 8 RBI game.
Yeah, because they kept saying, "Oh, it has to be A-Rod," and no, it was Didi.
Yeah, that might have been. It was RBI. I think it was RBIs. I think he had a 3-homer game.
Okay.
So I think that makes sense.
Or it might have been the homers in the first 3 games, the amount of homers or something.
Something like that. But and then this other one blew my mind. And if you could tell me who was previously held this record, you'd be like a prophet. But Aaron Judge has 319 home runs. That's the most homers through a player's first 996 games in MLB history. The previous most has 279 home runs.
Say it again.
So he had 319 home runs through his first 996 games.
Right.
The previous most for 996 games was some guy, and he had 279 home runs in 996 games.
So we're talking 39 less.
Yep.
And who was it?
Ryan Howard.
Yes. Ryan Howard
Was a beast his first couple years.
Yes, and is like sneaky at the top of a lot of categories when it comes to home runs with time spent.
Yeah, because he was really young.
Doing it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But those are just some of them. You know what I mean? And you know, to me, that game in itself on Saturday was crazy.
Crazy.
And I was talking to who was it? I think it was Devang. Oh no, it was Amish, because we go out for our normal power hour on Saturday at the brew house, and I was like, I kind of don't want them to score any more runs. Like when they had 12 and then it wound up being 13 in the first 3 innings, I'm like, I'm sure they're gonna do what they always do after doing this. That they won't score more than 3 runs the next day. They may win the game, but I almost could see them losing tomorrow because they will have no offense the next day. And then I go out and I watch the game. It was at 1:30, and it was the complete opposite. Another 4 home runs, 2 by Jazz, and all it was craziness. It was one of the greatest opening weekends I think I've ever seen the Yankees have, and I hope they play the Diamondbacks tonight. I hope they could keep this going because they're undefeated right now, which we know is not going to last. But I don't know. I want them to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, at least right now it'd be nice to see for a few more weeks just to get all the haters really starting to cry and complaining about the bats and all this good stuff. If they keep winning and keep hitting home runs, you know.
Yep, and the bullpens look good. The starting pitching, so. I felt really bad for Max Fried because his pitching line is so deceiving. They scored 9 runs that Saturday when he pitched.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully only 2 of them were earned.
Correct, and he only gave up. He was not charged with, but in the 4 2/3 innings, he gave up 6 runs. A lot of that could be also just pitching the contact. The Yankees made 5 errors, which was, if they weren't blowing them out, all hell would have broke loose Monday morning with all the talk shows, or if not Sunday beforehand.
Yeah, and that didn't help add to the whole thing of everything, right?
No.
When you could say, as far as Milwaukee goes, when can you ever say you're going to score 9 runs in a game and the other team is going to have 5 errors and you're going to lose by 11
Right,
runs?
you're 100% right. And they were extremely lucky that they scored that many runs, because even if they scored 11 or 12, I could see that being a totally different ball game. They were just out hit from the first inning. They were by the 3rd inning, it was 13 to 3 because Fried gave up 3 runs right after they got the 4. Yeah, so then it was 7-3 and then wound up being 12-3 or 4, and then that was pretty much it. And I felt bad for Nasty Nestor. He wasn't that nasty on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to feel bad for him, right? He was probably so jazzed up about that game.
Oh yeah, and I want to blame it on his hair. Did you see his hair?
Uh-huh.
What is he doing? What is that?
I don't know. He's going a little platinum.
Yeah, on Thursday I thought it was white hair because he wasn't on the mound, so you didn't get a close up of it. I'm like, did his whole head get white? Because you saw some of his beard was a little white. I'm like, what's going on? But then when you saw him pitching, you saw it was platinum. I'm like, this guy, like, knucklehead. And you know why he did it? Because they got the gold in the uniforms and all that. So, like, whatever. I guess he wanted to match it or something. I don't know. But, like, come on, man. I mean, Jesus. I like the guy. He didn't look like he had his A-plus stuff that day. And, listen, if you don't, historically, that's what the Yankees do. They beat up on bad pitchers. So if you're not going to have your good stuff, you're going to get beat up.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Nobody's talking about how the Brewers got smoked the first game after the Yankee series as well, right?
Yeah, and that was a record too, I think. So, and that was against the Royals. So, there's a lot. Plus, also, just like the Yankees have been decimated with injuries, so have the Brewers. The Brewers have a lot of pitchers that are out hurt in the beginning of the year. So that also could have something to do with it because even their bullpen got lit up, obviously. They had, who they had pitching to the Yankees those 2 games? Our boy, Jack Bowers.
Yeah.
Or Jake Bowers.
Two games.
Yeah. He was a Yankee.
And he didn't give up a run.
No, but he almost did serve up another record to Judge. Judge just missed it.
I know.
That meatball, lucky he hit it to, I think it was center field. He hit it too. He just missed it.
Yeah, right center. Just hit the wall.
Yep. So, and they were laughing about it, which is good. I mean, I kind of wish he would have put that one out. That would have been crazy to see. 4 home runs, and I think there were guys on base. He could have had like easily 10 RBIs. But, let's hope they come in. They had the day off yesterday. Will Warren is pitching today. He's going to need his good stuff because the Diamondbacks can hit. So it's going to be a tough ask for him to pitch against these guys. So hopefully he does well.
I mean, for us, I think it's just nice to see that, guys that we were questionable about have started out okay, Goldschmidt, the Bellinger's looking fantastic.
Yep. Even, what's his name? Jazz is hitting a lot too. Like, and what's weird to me, and this is no knock on the poor kid, but Volpe had a big home run in that second game, which we were only winning 4-3. But other than that home run, he hasn't hit either. So he's only hitting $160 something. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's early; it's only 3 games, but you got to assume the guy has at least 12 at bats.
Yeah.
So what is he? 1 for 12, 2 for 12, 2 for 12.
Yeah, he's got 2 home runs, right?
No, I think he's only got 1 home run. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's only got 1. I'll let you know in a second. Oh, boy. No, you're right. He has 2 home runs and 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
So those are his only 2 hits of home runs, which doesn't help for that other torpedo bat talk because some of them might have been off the wall and it would have been doubles or whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing with Austin Wells. Like the young guys, he's got 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. He's only batting 200. And I don't even want to get into Dominguez. I don't even have him on my list right now because I didn't update this.
He's batting under 200.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's batting even worse than Volpe.
Oh yeah, I think he's only got 1 hit.
Yeah, no homers, no RBIs, so he's not starting off good either. And I wouldn't get worried about it, right? But the one little thing I would say why I could be worried about it, or I'd give someone the benefit of the doubt of being worried about it, is when you have back-to-back games like this where everyone's scoring a ton of runs. If you're not going up there to like be comfortable enough to hit and you're already pressing and you're up by so many amount of runs, that is a problem. Because when you're losing by a run or even winning by a run and you need a clutch hit, is this kid going to be able to do it? He can't do it when and they left him in. They left him in for most of both these games. I think they replaced him in the top of the 9th.
Should be
but
nice and relaxed and
and
pressure.
just going up and swinging and taking your hacks and try to just put the bat to the ball and see where it goes. And, I saw most of both of those games, and it didn't look like that to me. Like, I get it maybe in the beginning of the game, but especially Saturdays, as quick as it got out of hand, like, from the third inning, you should have been like, okay, I got another 3 at-bats. Let's try and, do some things here. Like, I remember when I used to play, and you can't really equate it to the major leagues, obviously, but I used to go up there thinking, I just want to hit the ball to the right side. Hit the ball to the right side. Let me see if I can find a hole and go. And I think that's why Derek Jeter doesn't get the praise he always does, and they always say he's overrated or whatever. But I feel like that was always his mentality. I want to try to hit the ball to the right side, but if he gets around on it, he wraps it, and it's down the left field line or in the gap or whatever. I think that's the kind of approach these kids have to take. There's plenty of guys in this lineup that have the power to hit a home run. It's Yankee Stadium. The ball's going to fly out of there when you hit it good anyway.
Right.
You don't have to look to crush it.
Making contact,
right.
Get a couple of hits under your belt, and then start worrying about doing more with the ball once you get there.
Yeah. Like Judge had 2, home runs to right field that I don't want to say just made it. It might have been 10 feet back or a couple rows back. But those are home runs that only are home runs in Yankee Stadium and maybe like Colorado or a few. You know what I mean? Just hit the ball, make good contact, and see where the ball goes. You don't have to worry about crushing the ball. And I think that's part of the problem. Torpedo bat or not. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about it. And then we get to the Mets. The Mets had a little bit of a rocky weekend. Soto caught a lot of flack on Saturday. Was it? No, it was Friday. Friday for striking out.
No, Thursday.
Was it Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which was weird. They didn't play Sunday.
Because they were supposed to be off Friday, but because of whatever reason, they played Friday instead of taking off Friday and playing Saturday. Because typically that's the way they do it.
Yeah, it's Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
But why'd they take the Sunday game and move it to the Friday game? I don't think they did. I think they just played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, gave them Sunday off, and then they went to fly to Miami.
Right.
Which is weird. Like, normally whatever, it doesn't matter. But either way, the game was Thursday.
I thought it had something to do with weather.
It might have. I just thought it was in the schedule as that, because that's when I heard people talk about it, they were complaining, like, why weren't they playing on Sunday? Which,
no. The original schedule was Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then it had to be weather in Houston. Yeah. But yeah, the first game they came out flat. Nobody really hit, and Soto, looked terrible swinging against Hader. Struck out, I believe it was to end the game, correct? Soto to end the game, and with 2 guys on, and they lost that first one. Then they came back and won the second one 3-1, and then they lost the last one, which was wound up being Saturday, another close game. But they weren't hitting. That was the name of the game. And their pitching looked okay. Their bullpen looked sharp. Their starters, for the most part, looked sharp. And it looks like they're going to have to ride with these starters for a little while, because it came out today that Manaea is going to miss a little bit more time. He's not going to be back by May. He's going to be probably back by June now. So he's going to miss a good third of the season. And this kind of reminds me of Senga of last year, where, okay, he's starting to pitch again. Then he has a setback, which Manaea did today. Then he tries it again in a month, has another setback, and he wound up not coming back till August. So they might be out with their ace for a long time. And will the Mets be able to have enough offense to weather that storm?
Yeah, well, they scored 10 runs yesterday, so...
Yeah, they're playing the Marlins.
They should have enough offense. Right. I mean, offense shouldn't be an issue for them.
No, I mean, they re-signed Alonso, they signed Soto, they have their core. They're going to be using those torpedo bats soon, I'm sure. So they should be able to, pretty much rock and roll and get into these slugfests. The only problem is right now the Dodgers and the Padres look really good. They're both undefeated. They're both one is 6-0. The Dodgers are 6-0.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're beating up on the Braves. Have you seen that? The Braves are 0-5, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was looking. I was like shocked.
0-5, and now
yeah.
Far is out for 80 games.
Yeah, that's right. Profar is out for 80 games for PED use. Yeah, so the Braves are 0-5 right now.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a couple other, like the Brewers are also losers right now, 0-4. Yeah, and the Dodgers are 6-0, and the Padres are 5-0. Those are the only two undefeated teams in the National League, and I know it's only 3 games, so the Yankees are still undefeated in the American League. And have you watched any Sports Center? Did you see what's going on with the White Sox?
No.
So they're only 2-2, but they are leading the division, or at least tied for leading the division with the Guardians and the Royals. By the way, our Tigers are 1-3 right now. We're not gonna sweat it out; they'll be fine. But I'm just saying they're 1-3 right now. But the White Sox are 2-2, and I'm pretty sure the stat was that I think after yesterday was their starting pitcher has yet to allow a run in 23 innings.
And meanwhile, last year they
We're
lost.
probably the worst.
And they started the season with their over-under for wins being less than last year.
Yeah. So they're already 2-2, and
Their starters haven't given up.
a run in 23 innings.
Wow.
So basically, the 2 games they lost in the bullpen. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So that's like some of the early storylines for the MLB so far. Did you happen to catch the Kansas City game? Was it against the Brewers, or it might have been whoever they played over the weekend? That guy, India, that they got from the Reds that I was talking about last week, he got rocked in the face by a fastball. Oh, from the Indians. They were playing the Indians.
Oh, really?
Class A hit him right in the face, like right in the jaw with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. I thought once he got hit, because he went down quick, like he spun and went down, so the ball, like force, took him this way and down. And I'll give him credit, he got right up and like walked away, like grabbed his face and walked away and went right to the dugout. Like there was no like, are you okay? Like he went right to the dugout. And the trainers weren't even on the top step by the time he was over there, and they grabbed him and they brought him like right down to go check on him. I haven't heard anything, if anything happened to him.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
He might have got lucky. I only happened to see it because I was watching SportsCenter, and it came up. I guess it was on Sunday, and dude, it was crazy.
Wow.
He's gonna definitely think about, now that he's in the Central, using that piece, because he didn't have it. It was straight ball to face. You know that piece that's Giancarlo wore after he got hit? He doesn't have that. So I could guarantee you, when you see him come back, if he doesn't go on the IL, because you would have to assume like they're gonna do full work on his face, even his head.
Because most guys use those things all the time now, anyways.
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't you when guys are throwing 100 miles an hour? Jesus, something like that happens to you, you're going nuts. Oh, another fun little stat for you: Red Sox, Rafael Devers.
Yeah, I heard.
Did you hear that?
I've been hearing about that.
Poor guy. I guess he really needs to play third.
Somebody, they were talking this morning actually on the radio, on my way to work. They were talking about it, and they were saying how he's doing it on purpose because he's DHing.
Right. Well, listen, I'll be honest with you. If that's the case, you're stuck with Boston for the rest of your career, pal. Like if I found out anything like that, I'm not dealing with you, because if you're gonna throw your at bats like that, that means you're gonna do that whenever you don't get your way. I don't want any part of you. I don't care how good of a hitter you are, and like I don't even know how that's possible. As of yesterday, he was 0 for 19. He has 1 RBI, so he must have got a sacrifice fly. 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. In comparison, I know you probably heard this, but we're going to say it anyway. Tony Gwynn in 1985 had 15 strikeouts.
The whole season.
Or was it 18 strikeouts maybe? It was 15 or 18.
Either way.
In 585 at-bats.
Yeah.
That's absurd. And don't get me wrong, Tony Gwynn is one of the best baseball players I've ever seen hit a baseball. Even, as young as I am, but I remember watching him and seeing like, you couldn't get this guy out. Even when he got fat towards the end of his career, he was still swinging that bat.
And striking out less times in his entire career than some of these guys strike out in their one season.
Yeah. And then the record for, I'm gonna try and, I wish I could remember it. The record for least strikeouts in a season is 13 out of 541 at bats. You have, I'll give you a clue who it was. Okay. He's a Yankee.
So it obviously wasn't. It wasn't Gwynn.
No, Gwynn I think is second, but we got to remember Gwynn's done it probably done something like that multiple times.
Oh, like every year.
And so is this guy.
And he was a Yankee.
Yankee.
I mean, it's either got to be Boggs or
Come on, think.
Ichiro.
No, come on, bro. Think of all the famous Yankees. Don't think of just guys that were really good on other teams and they came to us late and then like they didn't strike out much. Really put your thinking cap on. I know it's only Tuesday, but put your thinking cap on. Think about it. I can't get. One of the first names what comes to my mind is like a couple of these guys. Like this should be
Garrick.
You're getting closer. You're getting closer.
Well, if it's not Garrick, then it's got to be DiMaggio.
There you go. Thank you. Jesus, that was difficult. And a funny stat with him is I don't remember the exact numbers, but let's just say, because it was hard to tell, but he had, I think, 379 home runs for his career, and then he had less strikeouts than home runs his whole career.
The other thing is back. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to look it up or whatnot. But were there guys back in those days that were striking out over 100 times in a season, whereas in Gwynn's time, you know, he was doing it when guys were striking out 150 times a
Right,
year.
and guys now are striking out 200 times a year.
Right.
That we'd really have to look at, and I mean, I think it would be as simple as just looking up, you know, the most strikeouts every year for, you know, MLB and see who's on that list and see what the top person would be for that list and judge it that way. Like you saw someone that had 100, then the next time it's 80, and then you have a whole bunch of guys in the 70s, 60s, then you know it's not a big deal. But, you know, baseball obviously was very different back then, so I'm just using it for comparison. Like, you know, Devers might be on pace to strike out almost as much as Joe DiMaggio and Tony Gwynn did their entire career, in like a season and a half. You know, so
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so to me that's kind of crazy. Now, granted, were guys throwing 100 mile an hour back then? Probably not. Most likely not. It was probably just in the low 90s, but that's still fast. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and like you said, Tony Gwynn was not like this crazy specimen of a human being like these guys are today.
No. He was just a pure hitter. It's almost like they focus on those things like since they were a kid and growing up. Like they didn't have to be overly muscular. They just put the bat to the ball, and almost speaks to what I was saying about these young Yankee kids. Bat to the ball, make solid contact, and see where it goes. A lot of the times it's going to find a hole. There's only, 9 guys on the field. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. So that's that. I don't think there was anything other than that was really crazy in baseball this weekend that I was paying attention to. I'm looking at these records. A lot of them are just middle of the road. So, whatever. We'll see what's going on. Good luck to the Yankees and the Mets tonight. The Knicks are still, doing what they got to do for the most part.
Just
chugging along
barely without.
They play the 76ers tonight, so they should get a win tonight.
There's been a bunch of games that they've been playing lately that they should have won and they haven't.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So Jalen Brunson is nowhere close to being back yet?
I mean, I haven't been following close enough to hear any information, but
You sound like the Wanderer right now.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about potential return. He's going to be back for the playoffs. Put it that way. At this point, there's no reason to bring him back before then, so don't expect him to be back before the playoffs.
Right. I mean, I would want him back a game or two before the playoffs, right?
Two weeks left in the season.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really? Interesting. Yeah, so that's
he
that.
won't be back before the playoffs.
Got no hockey talk because all those teams suck, so I'm not gonna waste my breath with that. Anything with golf going on recently? I saw Tiger Woods was joking around that he was gonna be playing at Augusta. I know it's April Fool's today, so I'm not that
Yeah,
stupid.
because he
Yeah,
had
like
another
surgery. Yeah, he had another surgery.
I think his playing days are done, to be honest with you. I mean, thank God for his TGL league, TGL, whatever the hell it is. He can play on the simulator. That's going to be the extent of his career until he decides to join the senior tour, which I don't know if he'll ever do that, because not maybe for a few more years, but because.
But he could play. Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard that once you win like a Masters, you're always invited back to play, right? So like he could always come back next year if he feels really good and just strictly play the Masters.
Yeah, he could do that.
Okay.
He could do that, which is probably what he's gonna do. He's gonna,
So he won't be playing like the bullshit tournaments.
he's not gonna be playing many tournaments at all.
Right.
At least that's what I think. I mean,
And you don't think he'll even do the Masters? Or you think he will?
well, not this year. But
No, but like let's say next 2026.
Yeah, I mean, just as a it's gonna get to a point where he's already at the point where he's really not. When did he win? When did he win the last one? 2019. So it's already, you're talking
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's good. Plus, he just keeps getting surgery after surgery, and these guys are just so good. I mean, Scotty Scheffler. It's like no matter what happens, he seems like he's either winning or finishing the top three. This guy's like incredible.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I've seen him in the top of the leaderboards. And any chance Tiger will be in like was it the Ryder Cup where they play against the other countries?
No.
He wouldn't do that?
No, they wouldn't pick him.
Oh no?
No, he's not good enough. I mean, those are, especially those are so important and so
Prestigious.
crucial. Yeah, that you're playing against the world. That they're not going to take that chance.
I see. I wanted to give you some good news. I finally finished Teen Wolf.
And that's so funny.
Did you watch the movie?
I watched the movie, and you know what? Pick any episode throughout the whole
6 seasons?
6 seasons.
The movie was better.
No.
Oh.
The movie was just like another episode.
Oh, no way.
Except that the only thing is that it was only just made in 2023.
Yeah.
So they're all 15 years older and they look exactly the same.
That's crazy.
Like, not unless it's CGI or big time makeup work, not one of them looks any older.
Really?
Like, I'm talking.
Well, it wasn't 50. Well, listen, the start of the show was 15 years later, or like give or take, because it started in 2011. This movie was in 2023. The last season was either 2016 or 2017 because they had those 20 episodes, and I know they chop them up and split them apart.
Okay.
So, like, it wasn't that far past, and I was looking into their ages, so it might just be good makeup. I didn't see the movie. I'm going to see it tonight just to, like, wrap this up in a bow and be done with it. Yeah, I have to. Like, that's the whole reason. Once I found out there was a movie, I was like, I can't even stop this or I wanted to. I will give them this, though. The last episode or two of the last season was, like, really good. I like how they wrapped it all up and, like, he went and got his pack and there was a big, like, it was just a very diverse pack of, like, they're not all just werewolves. You had a coyote, wolf, or whatever you call it, and, like, you have the lizard people and, like, whatever. It almost sounds like a terrible comic book that you read when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
But they ended it nicely. He wound up becoming a full alpha. I like how, like, they did some of that stuff. And I wanted to see, like, the movie just to see, like, to me, you normally don't make a movie like 7 years later. So to me, it almost means like they had like a cult following. Like sometimes other movies, when you get like almost like they make a movie or they make a perfect example. Remember Sharknado? That thing was one of the stupidest movies ever. I mean, I watched them all, so they're fantastic to me because I like sharks. But like, it's a sci-fi movie and it became a cult classic. because people couldn't get enough of it for one reason.
Right.
So they kept making movies, and these bum actors kept getting paid and whatever. So to me, it's almost similar in that regards, where like 7 years is too far to turn an MTV TV show into a 2 hour and 20-minute movie.
100%. It had to be that people.
Someone was calling for it or petitioning for it, and I guess MTV said, fine, screw it. And at this time, which was perfect for them, they have streaming now in 2023. Back then, they didn't. So they put it was probably very low budget. All these actors aren't really big actors for the most part. I mean, I think the biggest actor in that show was that guy Derek, who at the time of making the movie is now Superman on CW.
Right.
So that he might be the biggest actor in there.
Yeah.
Everyone else is nobody.
For
So they're not getting paid much. You might be spending $2 or $3 million on just the actors alone, which is nothing. And then a little CGI work. Like I said, I didn't see the movie. I'll comment on it next week. But like I read it in some ancient evil. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. I'm like, if it's only going to be like an episode, I felt like it was going to be like a quick hour and a half movie done and done. I'm like, 2 hours and 20 minutes? That's like sitting down and watching the Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
And like, I guarantee you, they don't compare it to the Avengers Endgame.
Right.
But I'm going to finish it tonight because I got to get going with these other shows that I want to watch that I've been hearing a lot about. That show Paradise, that's on, I think it's on Hulu. It's only 8 episodes. You should check it out. You might like it because we have similar tastes for the most part.
Okay.
Besides me branching out a little bit and giving
Yeah,
people
I think I've
some
seen
other stuff.
The picture of it.
Yeah,
but,
it starts off really hot and then it cools down. So some people didn't like that aspect.
Good.
But I was talking to Mike and he said it was good. His son thought it was good. It's only 8 episodes, so when you don't want to take a breather from just watching whatever, just doing what you're doing, you could just pop that on and just see what that's about. It shouldn't take you more than a couple days. Also, this show, it's a little bit like a game show. You ever heard of the guy mrbeast? He's super popular.
Yeah. We were talking about it last week.
There's a show on Prime of him. Have you seen it?
We talked about it last week.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, I saw a couple of minutes of the first episode. We were all together, like all the kids were together, and they had it on. But I haven't watched it since then. But that's his shtick. He's done many versions of that online and stuff. But now I guess they gave him a whole
show
series.
Yeah, they gave him a whole
They
season.
turned it into a series.
Yeah, and I heard that's really good and interesting too. And it's like, what would you do kind of thing, and I could screw you, you could screw me kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm gonna try and check that out, this week. I hope people start giving me stuff to watch because when I have my surgery, all I'm gonna be doing all day is watching TV.
Well, I'm sure you must have a pretty significant list still going, right? Because
I knocked a lot of it out in the last couple weeks,
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I have a decent list. I have The Last Kingdom that I'm going to try and watch during the afternoons and try and get into that.
Okay.
And then Gomorrah, those are my 2 biggest shows because they have a lot of episodes. So I think I'm going to do that early on when I'm just stuck in bed.
You're gonna try Gomorrah? That's a subtitle show.
No, but he said Shady was telling me it was dubbed.
I can't watch. Well, I guess if you don't know, right, it doesn't matter. You can watch it dubbed. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I normally don't like dubbed, but if you're telling me it's a good show, I'll watch it. There's another show I watched that was dubbed that I can't remember what it was. Oh, Squid Games is dubbed.
Oh, I don't watch anything dubbed. I do it with the subtitles.
Yeah, but I can't.
Yeah.
Because especially at night, it's dangerous because I'll start reading and like a lot of times I'm tired and I don't read quick enough, and then either one or two things happens. I start to fall asleep, and then you lose me for the show forever. Because once I fall asleep on something, I'm like, unless someone tells me it's good, I didn't keep going. I cut it off. It's the only way I cut something off. Or I'm missing key moments because I can't read as fast as they're popping up, especially when someone's talking like, I would say either Italian or Japanese, and it's like, da, 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 and it's like rapid fire. I'm like, what? So to me, dubbed is better than that. Like, that's all I'm going to say.
Well, Gomorrah, I mean, the first few seasons of Gomorrah are, doesn't get much better than that in television. Pretty amazing.
Well, let's hope so.
That's another one where after the series ended, they made a movie. but the movie focused on one of the main characters in the show.
After the series was over?
Yeah.
So, like, he made it through and then they made a movie about him? Or her?
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, the first, especially the first 3 seasons, if I'm remembering right, are some of the best television you're going to come across.
That's good. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know when I'm going to start first, but I'll figure it out. Have you been watching anything?
No, not really. Other than the Teen Wolf
Movie
that I found, and then just been watching. I haven't been watching the baseball, so which I wouldn't normally be going crazy for, but for some reason this year I was like, let me watch these games. And I haven't been watching them. I've been more listening to them. But
so even when you're at home, you're listening to them.
And well, I haven't really been at home. I've been on the road when I've been listening to them. But what are you thinking of the new guy? What's his name? Dave Sims.
Oh, he's pretty good.
I like him.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, it's always hard to replace a legend. It's like, Didi Gregorius replacing Derek Jeter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes a little time. But I'll tell you this. He gets excited like nobody else for the home runs. Because I put him on comparison. Like, I could have been watching the game, but then, like, the next day, the guys on the radio, they give you, like, 3 different takes of the home run. Like, the this, and him. And he's super jacked up. Yeah. And they said he was like that with the Mariners.
And I just like his voice.
Yeah.
His voice is like nice.
Yeah. And the only difference, like, I love Susan Waldman, but like I feel like they should have paired him with somebody new too, don't you think?
And I think they're just giving her swan song because I mean,
Yeah, I don't blame him.
She's been there for so many years.
It's been like 20-something years.
So it's like,
let her go when she wants.
Right.
And then he could pick whoever. And I'm sure that's what they told him. Like, this is a, temporary thing, and then we'll get you someone that you want to work with. And they've been good together for the most part.
Yeah, because I mean, listen, is she awful? No, she's not awful. But
no.
I'll be honest with you, like, she doesn't do anything for me.
Well, she better not. She's like an 80-year-old woman.
No, I mean as far as doing the games, like just like the certain sounds. Like if you ever really paid attention, you can hear her smacking her lips with like the lipstick throughout the game, and that just like annoys the hell out of me.
To me, she's a little high pitched for me, so at times it gets annoying. She's by no means terrible, but the up and down of her voice.
You know who honestly, as far as females go, that I think would be
perfect for that?
Perfect is Meredith
Marakovich. Yeah, I know. I agree.
Because she's got that voice too. That's just perfect, right?
Yeah.
And she's she's still very young, so she's very upbeat and stuff. But I think she would be, and she's been around the Yankees for a while now, so she knows them just as well as anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever.
You're right. She could definitely do that job. And I wonder, what's so weird? And maybe we'll talk about this more next week since we're cutting it close. I want to know how much these guys get paid. Like the difference of being on TV as opposed to being on the radio. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think it's as much as we would think.
Neither do I, but I kind of want a range somewhere. Like, would she step away from? Because Craig brought this up when he did his like 3 games with her, and it was great for him, and he was really good. Like he's like, it's a once in a lifetime gig, but obviously Fox pays him millions of dollars to do his show every day. Yeah. And like I get the radio. You're not going to get $1 million to do like the season or whatever. But let's equate it now to like being Meredith Marakovich on TV, where she's like a third announcer. She's not even the main announcer. Actually, yeah, she's third or fourth because she's not in the booth doing the live TV like Michael Kay and these other guys, Paul O'Neill, David Cohn. She's on the field usually. She does the quick little interviews and she's done, and then she does the pre and post game. So like, how much would she make doing that all year as opposed to just doing the play-by-play on the radio? Like that's kind of what I want to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that would be intriguing to me. Because if one is, let's just put the radio at $150 a year, and then let's say the TV, because you're on TV, is $175.
Oh, I would definitely think she's making less.
Then on TV, I think TV would be more.
Than say Susan Waldman right now?
Well, Susan Waldman's in a different bracket. She's been doing it too long. Like, she's almost like John Sterling.
No,
John
but
Sterling.
Say she replaced Susan Waldman.
Right, but she would get less than Susan Waldman. She's not getting the same amount of Susan Waldman. It's like
But
if
she'd
you.
still be making more than she does on TV, I think.
Well, that's the question I'm asking. Like,
That's what I would think.
Right, like-
I did one time, a couple of years back, I don't know if it was like 2 years ago or something, I did try to look up what John Sterling makes, and I'll be honest with you.
you couldn't find it.
No.
I did the same thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why is their shit so secretive when other people's aren't? Like everyone else is.
Yeah.
Especially in sports, like.
Oh, so you've done the same thing?
I tried. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but I gave it a good college try, and I'm like, it doesn't really say. And then it also determines too, like this guy's been doing it since the '90s, if not obviously probably before that.
Before
yeah,
that.
but like once he became the Yankees announcer for good, like he doesn't get the same amount for the next 30 years. He's always getting raises in it. That's why I said like when she goes from TV, she might be making 175 right now on TV because she's been doing TV for 10 plus years. Now when she goes to radio, she might start kind of at the bottom and work her way up, but because she's part of the Yankee family, they might start her somewhere in the middle. It's almost like if I went to go do your job, I'd get the bottom of the rung because I have no experience. You know what I mean? But you coming in having experience, or someone else coming in, let's say Wanderer, he'd get more money than I would because he's got experience. So she has some experience, at least talking on air and this, that, and the other. She wouldn't be at the bottom rung, but she wouldn't be getting Susan Waldman money because she's been carried by her friend for so many years with the Yankee organization. So when she's gone, that new person that gets in there, like perfect example, Dave Sims isn't getting John Sterling money. You know what I mean? But he's definitely getting more than the Mariners, or else he wouldn't have took it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, of course.
So,
and I just looked it up, and I guess it's got to do too, not necessarily, because he's not getting paid by the Yankees.
no, it's the
He's getting
fan.
paid by the radio station.
Yeah.
Right? And then I guess it goes by how many people are listening. So it says here, I just looked it up real quick, said that Sterling earned $500,000 per year,
Wow.
which I find hard to believe because it says, for context, his net worth is estimated at around $2 million. So if his net worth is around $2 million, how is he making $500,000 a year? And he's been doing this for 30 years.
Because that might have been his paycheck on his way out. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
even still, even if you add all that up, that means in the start of it, he was making like 20 grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
doesn't surprise. That's what I'm saying. Like Meredith Marakovic, like I wouldn't be surprised if she's making like 60 grand a year.
Nah, she couldn't be. It's got to be more than that because it's all TV. Because now you're talking about it's the Yes Network, which is owned by the Yankees. They're paying everybody.
Yeah, but the problem is you got to remember those regional sports networks are a dying breed. Like they can't survive. They're not making money. A lot of them are shutting down.
Some of them. But you don't put the Yankees in that threshold at all. At all. They're one of the few that's making money. If SNY is worth $2.5 billion, there's no way the Yankees are under that. That means people watch. Plus, we're also in New York City. Everybody watches the Yankees and the Mets, so they're still making money hand over fist. You know what I mean? But that's, we could table that for next week or when we do. You know what? Let's do some research on some of this stuff, and let's talk about it in a week or two. Because I don't know if we'll be able to be on next week, but
Okay.
let's do some research on it. It actually could be a fun conversation where we could find some funny stuff out for it.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to sports and finance, it's just all crazy. Look at what's going on with the Celtics right now.
Yeah.
$6.1 billion the guy's paying for the team, and he's not even getting the stadium with it.
Right.
It's just the team.
It's crazy.
He's gonna have to pay rent.
It's insane.
You gotta be a moron.
Is that still TD Bank Arena or whatever it is?
I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, because if he's renting that out, who owns that stadium? Does the bank own that stadium? Because they have their name on
No,
it?
the guys that just sold the team to him.
Oh, so they said you have the team and not the stadium?
Yes.
That's
And
bananas.
this moron still paid $6.1 billion. So can you imagine Imagine James Dolan decided he was going to sell the Knicks, the Rangers, with the Madison Square Garden.
That's insane.
You're talking
20 billion?
easy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
Easy.
Madison Square Garden is like the craziest arena, so that's insane.
Could you imagine knowing that you own something that you can, in a blink of an eye today, sell for $20 billion?
That's insane. Oh boy.
Like at this point, like what do you even do? Like, can you imagine for him to not even think or contemplate that means how much money he's already got? Like, he can never spend what he's got already. So
Right.
what's the difference?
Right. And let's not forget that he owns the Sphere in Vegas. That's a whole nother story.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's the first weekend in baseball. Ernie, you got anything else?
That's it, man.
All right, folks. While he's on his phone and not saying anything, that'd be great. We'll say goodbye. Enjoy your rest of the week of baseball. Good luck, Yankees and Mets. And we'll see you hopefully soon. Take care.
Take care.